This is a relentless game, turning less chaos into power. This is a relentless game, I've been up grinding 10,000 hours. This is a relentless game, always put my faith inside a God that won't ever stop. Turning less chaos into power. This is a relentless game.
The relentless game, turning life's chaos into power. So we have Coach Christian here, Seth Humphrey. Today we're going over really it's identity, the man you keep trying to become and what keeps holding you back. And so we're speaking to the man who knows he needs to make a change. It's not one of those things that he feels convicted of, something that needs to change, and he will change for a little bit. He'll start making some progress. He'll start changing some patterns of behaviors, and then what happens is he goes right back to his old ways. And so that's what we want to talk about today. Is like we've worked with a lot of individuals over the years, especially guys. And so, what is it that you see? And then let's just talk a little bit more about the problem that guy's having and why he's having that problem. And so, we discussed this just on our other podcast just a little bit ago of the man who's wanting to change, that's wanting to make better decisions, and they do that for a little bit, and then they go back to their old ways. Why do you think that?
Man, I think the purpose behind them wanting to change, what is it? Like, how deep is that purpose? You know what I mean? And with a lot of clients, that we work with at the Vitality Mill when it comes to their fitness, if their purpose is something that doesn't really mean a lot to them, like, yeah, we're going on a trip, in a month, and so I want to get leaner for that. But when it's somebody that comes in and they're like, hey, my dad, he's in bad health and I've got to take care of him, or my spouse is not doing well, I need to take care of them. And when it's deep things that really hit you at the heart and hit you at the core, those are those things that's going to allow you to actually make a change, because it's not necessarily just for you and a personal goal you have for yourself. But it's like, hey, if I don't make a change, I can't impact and take care of this person that's in my life. And so whether it be somebody, a guy that wants to be better for his wife is, not noticing him as much, or he's been busy a lot of times at work, and, their relationship, they're slowly drifting away. They're not as intimate with each other. It's like, man, sometimes you've got to take a grip on what you're doing. And a lot of times you can look in the mirror and go, hey, I'm mad at her for this, and that. But a lot of times it's, hey, what am I doing? What can I do to make a difference in this? And a lot of times, if it's something that's going to save your marriage, you're going to make it's a wake up call like that. You're going to start to make the decisions that you need to go in the right direction. And so sometimes guys come in and they think they want to do this, they think they want to do that, but they don't have a clear plan. And without that clear plan, you can't really get to the details and be super intentional about making the change, because you don't have something that really is pointing you in the direction that you want to go.
Yeah, so it's that side of the patterns of behaviors, they stick for a little bit, but if we never change our identity and the way we see ourselves and like you said, having a plan, but having a vision of the man you're trying to become, and then adopting that identity of that man. So the way we talk about it is when we play the impossible game, and we do this every year around the 1st of December or late November, and we go into our pivot protocol and we sit down and we start to get to the facts about where we currently are. But then we also get to the facts about what we really want. And what we see with a lot of guys is all day long, every day, they can tell me the things that they don't want, the things that they don't want to experience, their problems, their issues. They can talk about this for days and days and days. But when it's asked, what is it that you actually want? They have no clear idea of what it is they actually want. Yeah, they can say, I want to drop some weight, or I want this, or I want that. But when you have a clear vision of the man you're trying to become, now we can start to implement some patterns and some behaviors that will start to lead us to start becoming and operating like that man. And then what we do is we set something that's radical, that's in the middle of the pathway from getting to the guy that we were to the guy we're trying to become. We start changing those patterns and behaviors. We start climbing up that peak a little bit. We get to the middle side of it, and we have a challenge that says, hey, if I get this done, that means that I'm starting to become this man. Now we start to have some proof and some that we are becoming the guy that we sought out to be. So a perfect example of this is, the first of the year, I was coming off of losing my mom, and I'm just like, I've always been this way where I'm going to challenge myself physically, but I was like, I don't know if this ALS, if it's going to hit me in the next 10 years, 20 years, may never hit me or whatever. But what I'm not going to do is lay on my deathbed and go like, damn, I wish I would have. I wish I would have. And so I started to look at and was like, well, what do I want to do? Well, I want to compete. I want to continue to compete now at a high level at 44 years old. And that's what I want to do, or 45 years old here in a couple of months. And so then what I sought out was, okay, this guy at the peak, and physically, he's competing in high rocks competitions with guys that are 40 plus, and he's highly competitive with those individuals. Okay. Well, then patterns of behaviors right now is what we know is what's a big part of high rocks.
A lot of running.
Okay. So then, like, patterns of behaviors, the first part of the year was me, and you got to witness it firsthand. Was it started with, hey, we're just going and running a little bit here. We're getting on the bike, focus on nasal breathing. We're focusing more on breathing and doing some breathing
A
exercise.
lot of walk
We're
runs.
going out and pulling the sled
Lawn
around for a
charge,
little
yeah.
bit, going for runs, going to a row machine, whatever it may be. And so I started to build my capacity cardio wise and conditioning wise to be able to start to climb up that. Get there, and then I already had, like, radical would be run a half marathon. Knew that April 26th of this year was going to be the half marathon or the marathon for the memorial.
Mhm.
And me and you ran the half marathon. The work that I did and the work that you did prior to stepping into the marathon allowed me to not only complete the marathon, but our half marathon, but complete it in better than my expectations, which makes my mind the happiest. That marks me and saying, "Hey, dude, you're becoming that guy." And so I don't stop going and doing what I've already got these patterns, behaviors. I continue the running. I continue to do the little bitty things, getting on the bike and doing an hour like I did on Saturday, and then going for a 4 mile run because I want to keep that engine. And that leads me to, at the end of the year, like, when it's going to be the Dallas High Rocks. It's not been released yet, but when it's released, get signed up for it. But I'm already doing the work and the patterns and behaviors and implementing this stuff because I'm starting to slowly reveal that guy. And this is what guys are missing is you change your patterns and your behaviors for a little bit, but you never changed your identity.
Mhm.
So since you never changed your identity of the man, you just looked at yourself like, my identity before this, you remember, is like when it talked about running and stuff, I'd be like, dude, you're a lunatic, you're running, blah, blah, blah. That's not me. Nope, not going to run, blah, blah. And that's how I would attack things. Was my identity was not being a runner. As I advanced into this year, it was, hey, I'm going to be a runner. And so when my coach, me and Austin get on a call and he's talking about, like, Seth, we're lifters, we're not runners. And so, and I'm like, oh, hold on a second there. I'm running. I've ran a 5K. I've ran this. I've been running. My identity is I'm a runner now. You can't tell me any difference in that. And that's the piece that most guys are missing is you're fighting against yourself. So you're trying to become that guy, but you haven't changed your identity to that guy. And since you haven't changed your identity to become that man, then you're going to maybe put some patterns and behaviors, but then life's going to slap you upside the head. There's going to be something that happens. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go right back to your identity. And your identity was, I'm not this guy. I'm not this guy. I do this. I don't do this, whatever it is. And you stay stuck right where you are. Because you fall back to your lowest level of training of where you were before. And you fall even deeper now because you know what you're capable of. So that's the side of it that I see is this, like, the identity that you have to change your identity and the way that you view yourself. And then those patterns and behaviors start to roll with it. But if you only change the patterns and behaviors and never change the identity, you're just causing yourself a lot of stress.
Yeah. And once you've even changed the identity, you still got to have that system and those guardrails in your life that keep you going in that direction. And, you know, with us, we've changed our identity. We are who we are, but we still have the playbook, you know, within the Gorilla Alliance that still allows us to